Well, it may no longer be International Women's Day for you guys when you're watching this, and you're probably thinking that was a couple of weeks ago now. I have no idea what she's talking about, but for me, in this moment, it still is. So for today's Inspiration Corner, I wanted to throw a little bit of extra lady love inspiration your way in the form of one of my all-time favorite ways to pass the time and get inspired. And yes, of course, I'm talking about TV. Hey Word Nerds, happy Friday. So as I mentioned in the intro, it is still International Women's Day for me, almost the end of the day. So throughout my workday, I actually had a playlist on in the background with some of my favorite episodes from some of my favorite female character-led TV shows, and I figured I would share those shows with you guys in case somehow you have missed any of these amazing shows, which never fail to help get me inspired. First up is the TV show that started my entire sci-fi obsession, and that is Star Trek Voyager. This is the one that had the female captain, and it was my all-time favorite, probably because I watched it first, but this is the one that I went back to again and again because I loved the characters so much. Captain Janeway is an incredible leader, so as she and her crew get sent off into a distant corner of the galaxy and have to find their way home again, I was super invested in their journey, and all of the characters, male and female alike. There are just some really, really incredible, memorable characters here. A lot of them are women, and it is just a highly, highly recommended sci-fi series. If you haven't watched it yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. In terms of an older fantasy series that is led by women, one of my favorites is Xena Warrior Princess. This is all about kick-ass women. The main character is a warrior princess. A bunch of Greek gods are characters in the story, and the leads are two different women, one of them a fighter, one of them a bard, who over the course of the series decides she doesn't want to fight or kill anyone, and it is just a really interesting dynamic with a lot of LGBT undertones, which is all kinds of awesome. Growing up, I was a huge Greek mythology buff, so this was a perfect show for me to just completely fall into this world. There was also a musical episode, which is really, really, really fun, and also a little bit depressing just based on where in the story that episode falls. I'm sure some of the episodes don't really hold up in terms of special effects, and there are some 90s cheesiness in there, but there are still some really incredible characters and great storytelling. It is absolutely worth checking out. If you've been watching any of the WordNerds live chats, you probably know that there are a few of us who are a little bit obsessed with a show called The Good Place, but for today I'm going to talk about a different show with the same lead actress, Kristen Bell, and the show is of course Veronica Mars. It is basically a YA private investigator. The main character, Veronica Mars, her dad is a PI, but she ends up solving all of these crimes not only for her classmates, but bigger crimes as well, sometimes working for her dad under the radar when she's not supposed to be. It only lasted for 3 seasons, but I will watch this one again and again because it really does hold up over time. Kristen Bell is also adorable, and I am so in love with just the world that was created for this show. I will come back to this one forever. While there's technically an endless list of these kind of TV shows that I could talk about, I think at this point I'm pretty committed to sticking to the older shows, so the next one I want to recommend is probably the one that started it all for me, and that is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is the one that made me fall in love with urban fantasy, with certain kinds of characters and storytelling that I came back to again and again just to kind of learn from and see how the story was shaped, and also because I loved the characters. This series went on for 7 seasons. It follows Buffy, who is basically the chosen one, meant to kill vampires and demons, and she ends up with a bunch of kind of sidekicks, although they are all awesome in their own right, as they kind of go through and try to defeat the bad things in the universe, and also fall in love with vampires along the way, because sometimes you just can't help yourself. A lot of the writing and dialogue is really funny, and I will come back to again and again and make references to, even though nobody knows what I'm talking about. Like all of the shows on this list, there are some cornier episodes. The first couple of seasons in particular are very, very 90s, but still entirely worth the watch. So there you have it for TV shows led by women characters that you may not have seen before. If you guys have any recommendations in that same realm, no matter how old the TV show is, I would absolutely love to hear about it. I will continue binging TV shows until the end of time, even when I know I should be writing, because it makes me happy and always leaves me so inspired and wanting to tell more and better stories. So that's it for me today. Don't forget to join us on Sunday for our next live chat, which as always will be at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, happy reading, happy writing, and I'll see you next time.